I'm just writing tomorrow's newsletter and was interacting with some folks inside of MegaMaker. And I thought I would go live and just hash some of this out, kind of like a comedian hashing out their material at a little club. I just feels like some of this needs to be kind of spoken out loud. So yeah, this is the thread I was kind of in. Going live here to talk some of this out if you want to join and contribute. Justin Jackson live. So yeah, some pretty good interaction here. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll just read some of this and yeah, we can kind of take it from here. So I kind of open with this quote, "Will someone pay for this?" For bootstrappers, this is the question we pose when we're about to build something new. And it's a good place to start, but it doesn't go deep enough. We're not looking for someone or even some people. In most cases, we're looking for hundreds or thousands of customers. Getting 5 customers immediately after launch is a good sign, but if you can't grow beyond that, you won't be able to build a sustainable business. Likewise, we want people to be willing to pay now. We're not looking for someone to pay eventually. For a SaaS to work, it really needs a group of people. Hey, Jason, thanks for being here, man. For a SaaS to work, it really needs a group of people who are highly motivated to start a subscription now and then keep paying every month. Netflix doesn't want you to become a customer next year. They want you as a customer now. And finally, we want to attract customers without expending too much effort. It can't take too much time, money, and energy to convince someone to pay. And this is kind of what I want to focus on, is these 3 things. Number 1, we can't look for someone or even some people. We need many people. Number 2, we want people who are willing to pay now, who are willing to act now. And number 3, we want to attract people without expending too much effort. Okay, so then I kind of do a callback to last week's post. In the myth of the niche market, which is the post I wrote last week, I used fishing as a metaphor for choosing the right market. I quoted professional angler Tony Bishop, who said, 80% of fish are caught by 20% of fishermen. How do they do this? They fish where the fish are most often. It's a good analogy for thinking about which markets to target, in this case, ones with lots of fish. But it leaves an important question on the table, maybe I should say. How do we know we're in a good market with a product that many people will pay for, where sales don't require an outsized effort? Let's answer that question with a different fishing metaphor. Okay, so then I basically describe this clip here. I'll just play this right here.
Fishy! One fish? Wow!
So I hope that was clear. I don't know, Jason, did that play okay for you? Oh, what just happened? Just lost my chat. That was so weird. I totally lost my chat. Anyway, let me know if that video clip worked, because I'd like to show a few more. Okay. So let me, so that's, I basically described that, and this is how it's going to look in the post. So then I asked the question, how easy is it to get people to jump in your boat? To me, this is what a good product market fit feels like. Without you having to try too hard, customers should be showing up to buy your product. And in the future, you'll use sales and marketing techniques, but initially, you want to see some unprompted momentum. People are surprised when my friend Adam Wathan tells them how he got his first customers. I had 14 sales on the night before I officially launched. When people figure out how to buy before you've told them how to buy, that's a really good sign. Some of this language still needs to be massaged, and I'm totally happy to, if you've got suggestions, please let me know. And so Jason Harrison, who's here, he mentioned that in the Mega Maker Slack, I hope this is okay, Jason, that I share this, but he said, you've struck this metaphor might break down with this, but I feel like fish jumping into the boat has at least two factors to it. You've struck a strong chord with some part of your audience that they can't wait to try. This is definitely something I want to come back to. And then the second is you have such a loyal audience that part of them will try whatever you have. And then I was like, interesting. I'm actually feeling like going the other way in a sense. I'm wondering how helpful an audience really is for validating a product idea. And so, and some of this is informed by this conversation that Derek and Ben had on their podcast. Let me just play that clip quick. Hold on. And hopefully, again, the sound is okay.
Yeah, and I think one of the trickier parts of this too is that like it becomes more exaggerated of a problem for you as the product person as you kind of grow an audience, you have more people following along with your journey. And I think that's kind of what bit me too. It's like I go on this podcast every week and talk about things I'm working on, and I publish this manifesto to the world, putting a stake in the ground of like this is the problem I see in the world. Not too far in the specifics, but it was very much like a bold claim. And that generated so much response, and I even got people to pay me money. It's funny, I had a guy email me after I published the retrospective, and he was like, I just want to say I'm so sorry for giving you my money. Because he's like, if I could rewind time, I would tell you, like, I just want to like pay you because I so much believe in you as a person, but like I don't want you to take this as like, it's like, I'm probably not going to actually buy your product.
So this is something I've been thinking about, and I figured out how to fix the sound. I actually had it playing system audio and movie audio. So that is something I've been thinking about, is that I think when you're validating a product, sometimes having an audience can actually come back to bite you in the sense that you've got these fans that are rooting for you no matter what, and they want you to succeed no matter what. And so they're willing to, sometimes even give you money when they don't even care about the product. They just want you to succeed. And that can be very dangerous because you're taking that as validation, but they haven't, but it's not validation, right? It's just them saying, I'm a big fan. So, and they're referencing this book called The Mom Test by, oh shoot, now I'm gonna forget. I'll find it here. The Mom Test. Here it is. By Rob Fitzpatrick. Yeah, and maybe to round that out a little bit more, I'll just play you this clip as well from Ben.
People keep asking us for a Linux client. That means we should build one. And now I'm like, oh, that's cool. Thanks for the request. Hey, what is some other software that you pay for Linux? And they're like, well, I guess nothing right now. And I'm like, cool, got it, thank you. And like, that doesn't mean necessarily that we won't do this, because like our thing is collaborative. So like, if you can get the whole team on it, it's better than not. And so it may be that like getting the Linux folks on there changes the game for us, and we can like sell to different clients. But it's also like, it makes me wary. Like, I'm glad I have this question, like this, or just this framework. And like, this is basically the main thing I took away from the book, is like, not asking about like, hey, would you use this, or do you want this? But it's like, in the past, what have you done that is like this? And then like, it really uncovers like such a more concrete thing.
So hopefully that worked. Yeah, so I'm curious what you folks think about, clearly I need to add some more stuff here. I like what Tim said too. Tim Walling in the MegaMaker chat mentioned, he said, after reading what you have so far, I'm kind of left wondering how I'd even yell for the fish to get in the boat in the first place. You might not need an audience in the sense that you just need a few of the right people, and those people would tell others. And so there's like that question I think I could add to the post, which is, you know, how do you even know, I guess, and or how do you get the word out initially? How do you figure this stuff out? And so, even though I have written about that, you know, like, yeah, I've got when should you give up? But I've also have how do I build something people want? And so I'm really focusing a lot on this piece here, because I just feel like it's not, it's resonating, but I feels like there's more to fill out there. And it's like a different way of looking at this. And maybe I just need to talk more about some ideas for announcing something, or yeah, I mean, that might be it, right? That might be, you just have to do the unscalable thing and just target folks to talk to. Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think a lot of this is, you know, like, I went back to this interview here with Adam Wathan, and I mean, there's another blog post I want to write about doing the groundwork first. Like, you have to do the groundwork before you can do any of this other stuff. But like, if you read this story, if you read the story, he talks about his kind of launch sequence, and some of it is just seems so simplistic, you know, like he made an announcement on Twitter, released a sample chapter, released another sample chapter, wrote a blog post, sent my list a launch update, released another sample chapter, sent a 2-day launch notice to my list, and then he had launch day. And you know, then we talk about the launch, and he's like, I had 14 sales on the night before the launch. So people figured out how to buy before he'd even told them how to buy. And then he sent his launch email, which is basically just, you know, the equivalent of Ernie yelling, hey, fishy, fishy, fishy. and 81 sales came in, and then he announced on Twitter at 8:45, and by that time he had 133 more sales. And so there's this like resonance and that feeling of, not having to try too hard and being able to get this kind of response. That's a good question. I know that's what people always want to know, like how big was the audience? Because obviously you need something, but I mean, there's counterexamples of this too, where audience just really doesn't matter. Like Ruben Gamez having very little personal audience and just, doing some search engine optimization things to target keywords. But really the feeling that I'm trying to go after is like, he's not trying that hard. He's not really like trying to pull these people in super, like with a lot of effort. It's just without trying too hard, it's happening. I was originally going to use this clip here. I don't want, but like this one here of all these crazy, I think these are Asian carp or something jumping in the boat. But it turns out that those are an invasive species and that they're jumping because they're scared. So it felt like maybe this metaphor is a little bit more palatable. I also like the fact that he's yelling something in order to get the reaction, and so it's not like a lot of effort, but it's a little bit of effort. I don't know. Any other thoughts? Anyone that's out there? I can see Sammy is here. He hasn't said anything yet. I'm going to try to get chat working again. All right, I'll take that off the screen. Yeah. But he didn't really have much of an audience. Like most of his early customers came from search though. So maybe that was his experience. Whoa, what's going on here? Maybe that was your experience. Oh no. Now I'm going to be stuck with this for this size here. How do I make this smaller? Hold on, I gotta fix this before it goes crazy. Yeah, he was very engaged. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, he was engaged with the ones he had. Yeah. Oh man, this is buggy as heck. I gotta figure out how to fix this. It's getting worse. But yeah, so you're saying you've got to figure out how to engage with a few people at the beginning. Yeah. To figure this out. Like the central question is, of course, like, how do you figure this out? If this is true, if this is the question you're asking, then what's the solution? Like, what advice can I give to people that would help them figure that out? Yeah, and I mean, obviously some of this has to happen during the customer research phase. Which would bring in this idea of Rob's book, right? Like asking that question. I just want to play that clip from Ben again because it feels like, because he's doing that proactively. He hasn't built the feature yet, and so he's responding to people who want him to build a tuple app for Linux.
People keep asking us for a Linux client. That means we should build one. And now I'm like, oh, that's cool. Thanks for the request. Hey, what is some other software that you pay for Linux? And they're like, well, I guess nothing right now. And I'm like, cool, got it. Thank you. And like, that doesn't mean necessarily that we won't do this, because like our thing is collaborative. So like, if you can get the whole team on it, it's better than not. And so it may be that like getting the Linux folks on there changes the game for us, and we can like sell to different clients. But it's also like, it makes me wary. Like, I'm glad I have this question, like this, or just this framework. And like, this is basically the main thing I took away from the book, is like, not asking about like, hey, would you use this or do you want this? But it's like, in the past, what have you done that is like this? And then like, it really uncovers like such a more concrete thing.
Yeah. So not asking, would you use this? But asking, what have you done in the past that is like this? Actually, that's something I think I need to touch on a little bit. And also, hey, how's it going, Will? Sweet, man. What are you launching? Also figuring out let me just start writing some things here. And maybe you folks could look over my shoulder and... Okay. So... framework. So we're going to say a framework. Okay. And I'm just going to start with just some really kind of broad ideas. So one idea is to touch on is customer research. Another idea to touch on is pre-sales, and another idea to touch on is evaluating momentum. I think most of this post is actually about this, evaluating momentum. So and the outcome is, again, maybe I'll just say, what do we want? we want customers that are plentiful in number, willing and motivated, willing to pay now, and so motivated that we don't have to work too hard to convince them. I'm worried about expanding this post out too much because I really I want it to be have some sort of practical element, but I want it to be sharp enough that it's just and pointy enough that it's just addressing this one feeling, this one issue of that's why we're here, Cool. This is the new site, Will. So this is Statamic. That's it's a Laravel PHP based CMS. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so if we So, okay, what do we want? We want customer, no. Send them emails like this one. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Send them emails like this one. What do we want? So, okay, so I'm just going to keep writing. So if we have an idea, yeah. I mean, that's where kind of the metaphor breaks down. Maybe I've got to get rid of that. Because in some ways, it's just like, it's just about showing up in the right place. So maybe I should use that other video. Just like showing up in the right place and having this crazy thing happen. Yeah. Just too bad because it had a lot of nostalgia, but I think you're right. It doesn't work. Because most of it is about showing up in the right place. Yeah, I wonder if I wonder if that's what I need to do instead. Is use this as a metaphor. Because it feels like it'll be more clear. Now where's that? There's this one too. It's funny how, like, the metaphor kind of, because I'm surprised that you folks have grabbed so, like, I kind of wanted that one metaphor just to go so far, but now it doesn't, like, it doesn't work. Yeah, I think I need to rework it a bit. And it's not, again, it's not about the bait, like it's not about the hook you have or anything like that. It's just about showing up in the right spot. I think that's going to be, I think that's where I got to go. Yeah, I think we got to get rid of, I think it's about, I think this is what it looks like. So yeah, I think I got to delete this. I think I got to delete all this stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. This is helpful. I think I got to go offline now and just do some work. You got to delete a big part of this and then just keep trucking. Thanks for your help. It's really helpful. Appreciate it. But I think that the thing I do want to impress on people is that I want it to feel like you're in the right place. Yeah. But in the sense that you planned to go somewhere, and you planned to go somewhere, you showed up, and people were there. You know what I mean? Like a food truck going to the right location, a food truck going to a location and people just lining up because they're ready. You know what I mean? Or even better, did I already use this metaphor of of I haven't. See, maybe I can bring this metaphor into with no, not this. It sure is easy to sell vanilla ice cream at the beach, even when you're next to another ice cream stand. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what this is. But this is what I'm kind of mean, Jason, is this idea of showing up where there's already a ton of fish. You're showing up where there's already a ton of momentum, and in that sphere, figuring out product market fit seems so much easier. Like, it's a hot day, the beach is crowded, and I have an ice cream stand, and those seem to just fit together perfectly, right? And so, and if maybe I can go back to last week's article. Like, maybe I should just dive back into where is it? This essay. Successful fishers fish where the fish are most often. It's this ability to more accurately forecast where the fish are likely to be holding at one time that separates the successful fisher from the fishless. Did I... See, it feels like I just almost need to focus back in on that. Because it doesn't leave an important question. A point I'd like to emphasize now is the second part. I'd like to emphasize second part. Fish where the fish are most often. I'm just going to delete all this. What is this? This is an H2. I haven't seen this. I should watch this. Okay, I'll leave that on. I don't think I can watch that live, but see, so much of his advice is finding the right spots. Tony's of Tony's advice is around figuring out where fish hang out. Where we can go. Figure out where the fish decide which fish you want to catch. Figure out where those fish hang out. So here's finding the fish, right? And he talks a lot about research. Okay, so figure out where these fish out. Decide which fish you want to catch. Figure out where those fish hang out, and then give the fish something they want. So he spends most of this essay describing tactics for number 2. How to know how. See, this all seems to be relevant. He spends most of the essay describing steps for figuring out determining where groups fish. There's fishing cliches seem to match business cliches. Right time, right place, and right bait. Yeah. Whoa. But again, it's not about and maybe here I could talk about that video. Mode. Um, should I grab this one? This isn't the original. So maybe I should just use this. How do I set something to autoplay? Maybe I don't want to do that. Okay. And then I just need to remember how I need to turn all these videos grayscale. It's a thing that here we go. Want these here. So I should just put this in so it always does this, but oh, and I don't want to show related videos. Okay. Just need that. Where's that video again? I'll link to this in the piece too. Okay. Yeah, I think this is better. All right. I think I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out for so long. Thanks for spending your time and for your feedback. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to try to finish this up.